Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. I hope the week's going well. It's very dry here, not a drop of water. And I'm just hoping to get some rain soon. I saw that there's a lot of rain south of here in Malawi and Zimbabwe and places. We got very lucky in that El Nino year. I'm just thinking it's payback time. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. It's Murphy Yogan. And then I like this photograph from the Cosmic Soul. It's palm trees and the sunset. It's very beautiful. Macro thoughts. Court says May needs MPs' approval to trigger Brexit. And I think the way it looks, she's going to get the approval and Brexit's going to be triggered. Take a look at this little snippet from Masaku. And he tweeted, "Never turn your back on lions, tigers, and women." This is Melania Trump's reaction. And what you're looking for is, after the smile, the micro expression that crosses her face as he turns away from her. You could compare that with Cato Kaling, its micro expression that was captured by Paul Ekman a few years ago. What is a micro expression? When someone conceals emotions, leakage of that emotion can often be found on that person's face. This leakage may be seen on one region of the face or flashed in a millisecond across the whole face. Haggard and Isaacs were the first to describe micro-expressions, calling them micro-momentary expressions in their study of psychotherapeutic interviews. They explained the appearance of micros as the result of repression. So there you go. In 1967, Ekman began to study deception, starting with clinical cases in which the patients falsely claimed not to be depressed in order to commit suicide when not under supervision. In the very first case, when films were examined in slow motion, Ekman and Friesen saw microfacial expressions which revealed strong negative feelings the patient was trying to hide. Now go back and look at that little clip that Masaku posted. And you can also look at that clip of how Trump was overlooking Melania when she was voting. And when you put all these things together, you've got a very interesting scenario. Paul Auster's novel of Chance in 4321, one man's life unfolds along four diverging narrative arcs. He's a brilliant writer. The music of Chance remains my favorite. According to a currently popular line of philosophy, a self is merely the sum of all the stories we tell about a particular human body. It's an idea that resonates through the work of the writer Paul Auster, in whose fiction both selves and stories are precarious constructions, fascinating but unstable, more illusion than reality. Well worth a read. I couldn't resist this. Photo Booth Black Cowboys busting one of America's defining myths in the New Yorker. Then I went back to Ivan Turgenev, Fathers and Sons. What a magnificent body. How I should like to see it on the dissecting table. Rene Zeppi of Noma tweeted the mighty lumpfish. Looks lumpy. And then I also like this steamed assorted mushroom dumplings with celery and steamed lobster and scallop dumplings sauce the Four Seasons Hotel in Hong Kong. Let's move on to political reflections. There's been some very tough language by the Americans about the Chinese islands in the South China Sea. And Reuters is saying the blockade, which is what would be required to actually bar access, in their opinion, is an act of war. 2013, when I wrote that piece about the pivot to Asia bearing its fangs, I spoke of two concepts in the pivot. One was the air-sea battle concept, which involved a blinding attack on China, and also incorporated in that was distant blockade operations. So bear that in mind, that this was already in a Pentagon document. China says the US is not a party in the South China Sea dispute, urges the US to speak and act cautiously. Chinese intercontinental ballistic missiles designed to strike targets in the United States apparently had been deployed near the city of Dakhing. This province is adjacent to Russia, but the border with Russia is a few hundred kilometers away. These missiles are capable of striking the territory of Russia, yet the Chinese ICBMs are designed to strike targets in the United States. The Dunsan 4, for example, is a heavy solid fuel intercontinental missile of new generation capable of delivering a large amount of warheads to the continental United States. Pretty extraordinary stuff. So we're seeing it heat up. One move, and I think we're going to have a problem. From 50 miles north of the Arctic Circle, Norwegian defense officials warily eye the next move by Putin and Trump. Vanity Fair's Graydon Carter, who's never been popular with Donald Trump, writes, "Welcome to Trumpistan. A preening and vindictive strongman at the top, living in gilded opulence and surrounded by generals and business cronies. Is this what a junta looks like, or with the Twitter storms, the cabinet selection runway show, and the erratic broadsides at everything from the media and the CIA to a local labor union official? Does the walk up to a Donald J. Trump presidency seem like one long string of onion headlines?" Bit of both, actually. We're on our way down the rabbit hole, and nothing is what it seems. Trump's thank you tour prior to being sworn into office wasn't that at all. It was an ego-boosting victory lap. It was his You're Welcome tour, making vulture investor Wilbur Ross and Hollywood moneyman Steven Mnuchin the guardians of the nation's economy. I mean, really, a climate change denier at the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, an oil executive with no political experience but close ties to Putin at the head of the State Department. When the best-read member of the cabinet is nicknamed Mad Dog, you know we are in uncharted waters. Trump is draining the swamp of tadpoles and filling it with Gila monsters. And then talking about, during the campaign, Hillary Clinton pitched to the donor class, treating New York and the wealthier precincts of America's giant ATMs. Trump went straight to the voting class, specifically that great swathe of Americans who feel they've been left behind in the wake of epic technology disruptions, the banking scandals of the Great Recession, and the influx of immigrants from places they have trouble finding on a map. Many of them found this new moneyed iteration of the American dream, but the ones who didn't, and they are the majority, feel like diners who have come late to a buffet where all the shrimp and lobster have been taken. Trump, still gnawing on his shrimp, tapped into this disaffection with great gusto, and his supporters bought his act that he was a successful businessman, despite much evidence to the contrary. As Fran Lebowitz says, Trump is a poor person's idea of a rich person. As special correspondent Sarah Ellison points out in Ivanka's Apprentice, the Trump brand has been a defining aspect of both daughters' lives. During her parents' divorce, Ivanka once tearfully asked her mother if the split meant that she wouldn't be Ivanka Trump anymore. On the 14th of November, I wrote a piece, Here Comes President Trump. The LA Times is reporting that Trump said, "We will build the wall, order construction on border, and may clamp down on refugee admissions." According to Beshinsky, who writes in Bloomberg View, Trump travels with a clack. A claque is a group of supporters that creates the impression of support for him. It functions like a recent meeting with the CIA. I've added to a growing list of ways his administration resembles President Putin's. Over the weekend, Trump Press Secretary Sean Spicer all but invited comparison to his Russian counterpart by offering alternative facts. About the inauguration's crowd size. With a straight face, Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov has denied the involvement of Russian troops in Crimea and eastern Ukraine and claimed that a $620,000 watch he wore as a present from his wife, an Olympic figure skater. Putin operates in a bubble, in part to protect a retiring, inward-looking man from unwanted interactions. It's essentially a shell. Trump is creating a bubble because he wants to be admired, to win, always to be the best. He doesn't shrink from unnecessary contact, as Putin does, just from any reality in which he is not number one. His bubble is an aquarium. The striking difference between the two men doesn't preclude dictatorial tendencies in both. A flamboyant dictator, however, is likely more vulnerable than a reticent one. Something that should concern those who helped Trump prepare for inevitable negotiations with Putin. Yesterday, I looked up the word vainglorious, excessive vanity or unwarranted pride, vainglory. The entrance to the Langley headquarters, where President Trump spoke, has "the truth will set you free." Breaking news: Trump will order the construction of a Mexican border wall on Wednesday. Muslim Brotherhood sent a turnip seller to its talks in Astana. This is this fellow called Ayush. Have a look. 97 organizations call on participants in Astana talks to prioritize opening humanitarian access to besieged areas in Syria. Investment banks received bids for £23 billion for the new 40-year bond in the UK. That's the largest order book for a UK bond sold via a process known as syndication, priced at 1.87%. The S&P rose 0.7% to an all-time high. Currency markets: Euro 107.21, dollar index 100.25, Japanese yen 113.68, Swiss back above parity 10015, the pound 125.08, the Aussie 0.7532, India rupee 68.135, South Korean won 1165.20, the Rial 316.98, Egyptian pound just below 19 at 18.9765, and the South African rand up 2.8% year to date at 13.3789. I've been bullish about that for a while. Have a look at the Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index, which is near its pre-election trend line. Probably bounces off that, I think. Canadian dollar recovered a little bit. Take a look at this chart from Stephen Wicari. And euro dollar 107.20 seems to have found some stability recently, but I still prefer sterling over the euro, and I think that's a great trade to put on. Gold, which caught me off guard, is now coming back to the 1200 level at 1203.33. Goldman Sachs' shift to destination-based border-adjusted corporate tax could lead to another oil glut because of massive incentive to ramp up US production. Crude oil last trading at $53.20. If you look at this chart, you'll see we've been flatlined in this area. Normally means we've got a big break up or down. Come. Emerging markets: Dubai airport handled 83.6 million travelers in 2016. New figures have shown, making it still the busiest in the world. Dubai's rise has been astonishing. The airport welcomed just 16 million flyers in 2002, meaning 423% total growth in the last 16 years. Let's move on to Africa. He knew he was going down internally and externally, says Haifa Salah. The use of force was very clear. ECOWAS was around the border. The fact that he would be alone, he would have fallen like a house of cards. The use of force was very clear. Congo, saw the President Kabila tweeted a photograph offering a cocktail to newly accredited ambassadors in the DRC, one of whom is my friend Bart Ouvry, and congratulations to him. We get outrageous proposals telling us if you sign with Beijing, we'll offer you $50 billion or more, says the minister in Ouagadougou. Taiwan's last two African allies have no plans to switch allegiances and break ties with Taipei as Beijing tries to woo the self-ruled island's diplomatic partners. Burkina Faso won't cut relations with Taiwan, despite people and companies with links to China offering funding in return for recognition of the One China principle, according to the foreign minister. Swaziland said its relationship with Taiwan is based on mutual interests and not on money. We get outrageous proposals telling us if you sign with Beijing, we'll offer you $50 billion or more. Barry said in an interview in Ouagadougou, Taiwan is our friend and partner. We're happy and we see no reason to reconsider the relationship. Competition between China and Taiwan for diplomatic allies has intensified since Tsai Ing-wen became the island's president last year. She has refused to explicitly endorse the One China policy, an acknowledgement that the two are part of the same China, even if they disagree on what that means. Last month, the tiny island of Sao Tome and Principe split with Taiwan because it's facing dwindling support from its traditional partners. Taiwan's growing isolation amid tensions with China was further highlighted when Nigeria on January the 11th ordered Taipei to close its trade mission in the capital, Abuja. That's left Taiwan with Burkina Faso and Swaziland. Mauritian Premier succeeded by Sun opposition plans protest. Interesting development, especially when we've seen new and fresh trend-changing developments in places like the Gambia. Investors, in my opinion, started to factor in Private Gordon's fight back against rogue policy making, which is stiffened with the rand, which is trading, you have a look at this chart, it's up 2.8% so far this year. And the South African all-shares also performed well, up 5.31% this year. South Africa's Reserve Bank kept its repo rate at 7%. Egyptian pound back towards the 19 level. Let's take a look, but I think 1950, it's a buy area. The fundamental paradox at the heart of President Buhari's government is the Naira. Investors are sidelined, waiting for President Buhari's moment of epiphany. Nigeria held its main interest rate at 14%, the Nigeria all shares down 2.44%. By contrast, the new president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, is saying all the right things, in my opinion, and Ghana looks primed to move from a policy-making haircut to a policy-making premium. Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index, which I'm bullish, is up 4.5% this year. South Sudan needs an institutional reform, independent, accountable, and transparent central bank. Otherwise, recent changes in the central bank can be analogistic, says the economist Garang Atem. As John Denver once sang, I'm leaving on a jet plane. Algeria bore their plane home from the Africa football. A South African activist who campaigned to remove a statue of Cecil Rhodes has been given a place at Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar. Joshua Knott, 23, has been branded a hypocrite on social media for accepting the £40,000 scholarship. He was a key figure in the Rhodes Must Fall movement at the University of Cape Town. Head of Banking Research at EcoBank, George Bodo, pointed out that in the month of December alone, CBK's liquidity assistance to banks hit 91.8 billion shillings, compared to 69 billion in November. Caroline Mutoko tweeted, in 250 years, no traditional industry, when confronted with disruptive tech change, has ever survived. So quote from Brett King. Kenya shilling around the 104 mark, year-end precious, but I expect to move higher for the shilling in February. Nairobi all shares down 7.54% this year. These levels have not been seen since July 2013. Kenya Re has been a standout, up 2.22% in 2017, and this outperformance has been activated on good volume action Look at the 5-month volume chart to get an idea of that. NSE 20 down 9.83% year to date at a fresh 2008 low. The first few days of Donald Trump, this is my piece from yesterday, have been remarkable, really. I quote, if Donald Trump, then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart persona. The president informed the CIA. Did everybody like the speech? I say, wait a minute, I made a speech. I looked out, the field was, it looked like 1.5 million people. Crowd scientists who spoke to the Times estimated that about 160,000 people attended, compared with the record-setting 1.8 million who were estimated to have been at Obama's first inauguration. The situation, in my view, is in danger of turning Orwellian. My theory is that the Donald J. Trump administration is like an imperial court, and no one is prepared to counsel caution, and that's why we keep witnessing these crazy and vainglorious episodes like the size of his inauguration. Via executive order, Trump has withdrawn the US from TTIP, lobbed some serious threats to the Chinese, more protectionist US, encouraged a little bit of profit-taking, but the dollar's turned up again. As I said, here in Nairobi, the NSE 20 sank 1.11% to close at a fresh 2008 low. The all-share fell 0.62% to close at a level not seen since July 2013. Safaricom unchanged at 18.20. I think it's basing out at minus 4.96% this year. I got caught up in the backwash of a bear market at the Securities Exchange. Kenya Re, as we said, record high of 23, up 2.22% this year, outperforming on every metric. Bank stocks were weak yesterday, but seem to be a bit better bid. They're desperately oversold. And ahead of the release of its first half earnings this Friday, and after announcing that they are seeking offers for a 6-acre piece of land in Mombasa Shimanzi industrial area worth about $7 million, EABL eased back 0.9% to close at 220, and on really heavy volume action. Andrew Cowan will be delivering his first earnings release this Friday. BAT, which is internationally is taking over RJR Reynolds, remains firm. It's down just 1.1%, but seeing good volume action. Once again, thank you for stopping by.